Well, hey there everyone, it's Kris from Rate the Record, and yes, it is that time of the week again, where I just randomly pick out 3 songs out of the ether there. I check them out, I review them, and I let you know what I think about them. And yes, I am in a different space this week. It's technically my podcast background. The other one just doesn't seem like it's working out too much. I'm gonna try to work with that, but for now, this is gonna be the background. But that's not important. What's important is the reviews, so let's get into them. So first up to the plate is Belfast, Ireland's And So I Watch You From Afar. They just released their 6th studio album back on February 18th called Jettison, and the first single that I'm looking at today is the first one that I was led to on their YouTube channel called I Dive Part 2? 2 Dive Part 2? I don't know, it's one or the other. You'll see. So the song obviously picks up from a part 1, which was the previous track that I'm not reviewing, but I'll have to go back and listen to on my own time. Some soft percussion and gentle strum strings kind of start out this track, and it's met with very peaceful string section, and then a drum beat that's playing this really cool 5/8 groove. I really like that. By the way, it's an instrumental track. There's no vocals, so I don't have to talk about that. Yay, one less thing to talk about. The guitars harmonize really nicely throughout the track, just kind of like, giving a good feel to that. And then you have these strings come in that kind of fade in and out, kind of like the flame of a candle. That's the best way I could describe it, but it sounds really nice. The song progresses on fairly similar throughout the entire track, with the addition of a few more soundscapes as it goes, adds some texture, so I guess that's nice. It has this uplifting new day kind of feeling, and it's just a really pretty track all around. The mix is a little iffy at points, but I feel like they're trying to use sound design to really evoke certain emotions. That's what I get from it at the very least. Especially as the track changes up towards the end of the song, because the entire first half kind of felt like a warm sunrise, but this feels like, the ending at least, feels like a very peaceful, starry night. It's not too exciting overall, but it does feel pretty warm and comforting. That's at least what I take away from it. So I would say definitely check this one out, especially if you're having a particularly difficult day. Next up, we have Methyl Ethel from Perth, Australia. They've been around since 2013 and have released a few albums, including the newest album they just released, their 4th full-length album, Are You Haunted? And it was released also back on February 18th. I'm looking at the lead single from this album, and it's called Proof. This glitchy, broken piano sample loop just starts out the track, sounds pretty cool, and that's met by this swell of horns, I guess, a very quick swell of horns, maybe synth. As the verse kind of bangs in, there's these really choppy staccato strings and synths that just kind of lead the entire verse all the way through. And there's a chill halftime drum on top of that as well. Very cool groove on top of the fast choppy staccato, so I like that. I like that kind of contrast when that happens. 2 vocalists in this track, and I think that adds a lot of depth and layering that I actually kind of really enjoy. They sound quite similar, but in the way that they both are very front-facing, one doesn't really bury the other one, and they also both use this very kind of airy reverb type feeling to their voice, very atmospheric. You can definitely tell it. It adds a good dynamic though. The song is catchy all over the place, especially in this grandiose bridge that kind of comes in with these strings that come in super heavy, not like tonally heavy, but just fill out the soundscape. Not only that, but it kind of builds this imagery in my head of like these pink and purple pastel clouds that you're just kind of flying through a little bit. It creates some fun imagery. I like when music can do that. It's a pretty fun track. It runs a little repetitive throughout, but it's definitely another one of those good chill out type songs. The previous song was kind of like a peaceful chill. This one, in that vein, but has a little more life to it, but nothing going too crazy. I don't mind this one, I guess. It wasn't the greatest, but I guess I still had a good time overall. And the final track that I'm checking out today is by a band called Hurray for the Riff Raff, fronted by Alinda Segarra. I hope I said that correctly. Though born in the Bronx, the band itself was formulated in 2007 in New Orleans, Louisiana. The latest album is their 7th studio release called Life on Earth, and that also dropped back on February 18th. 3 albums on the same day, I finally did it. But the single I'm looking at today was the lead single from the album, Pierced Arrows. The start of this track kind of brought me back to the mid-2000s a little bit. Maybe some of you will know what I mean. It was that time when like indie pop and indie rock was kind of on the rise just alongside of the hardcore scene. At least the beginning of the song kind of gave me more metric vibes, which is definitely a good thing because I definitely like metric. You have these buzzing, drawn-out synths that are soon matched with these punchy, really dancey kind of drums. Good start to the album. Song. Good start to the song. Now the vocals kick in and I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, I know I've heard this voice before, despite the fact I've never heard of this band before. Segura's voice has these shades of indie, pop, and maybe even a little bit jazz in there. Regardless, I feel like they would fit into any one of those genres if they went ahead and tried it out. But again, I haven't really heard of this band or this artist, so I might be way off, especially if you know this band already, you can correct me. I was kind of let down by the chorus of the song by the time it rolled around. Not that it sounds bad, but I think the biggest issue with it is it blended a little too smoothly into the verse, so nothing really picked up, nothing felt too different. At the very least, vocal harmonies were added and these very atmospheric synths. They're all added to the mix, and it works really well to fill out the entire soundscape, so that's at least appreciated for the chorus. I felt like the second chorus took up just a little too much of the second half of the entire song. Like, maybe it went a little too slowly for me, a little too quickly, I'm not certain. But it felt like it took up that entire half, and so it became very difficult for me to stay interested because of that. I will say though, sitting through this one, it's like 4 minutes and 2 seconds, so it's not entirely long or anything like that. You know, it is catchy, it's simple, it's easily digestible. I don't mean any of that to be bad, by the way, like that's all fine because it fits what it's trying to do. Pop this one on and let me know what you think, because maybe you'll end up digging it more than me. And that is it for the reviews for today. Those are the 3 songs. Hopefully you enjoyed those songs, and hopefully this footage looks better. I apologize for the shady quality lately. I'm working with a camera that doesn't like me. I shoot these on my own, so I don't even have a reference monitor. So hopefully everything's better this time around. If not, I'll keep working on it. And don't forget that Savannah makes her own singles reviews videos as well. She has one up right now, so go ahead, pop on over there and check it out. And of course, don't forget about the Rate the Record podcast, a new episode every Monday morning. And this past Monday, we looked at Fishbone in a very long album title called Give a Monkey a Brain and He'll Swear He's the Center of the Universe. Sometimes I need to take a deep breath when I say that one. So you can go check out that episode here on YouTube, multiple audio platforms. We also have our social medias at Rate the Record Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and at Rate the Record for Twitter. I remember all of my own social medias. Regardless, it's in the link tree down below, so please go check that out. And yeah, hopefully you'll find an episode you really like. We hope to see you around on the podcast and for these singles reviews as well. So until then, we'll see you next week. Take care, friends.